Howdy, I'm Bob Terry. Welcome to the Forsaken Westerns. Up next, we've got the very first episode of a almost lost, almost forgotten series. The series is titled Union Pacific. This episode is titled Black Hills Incident. This series is all about Major Bart McClellan's quest to lay tracks for the Union Pacific and all the obstacles he has to overcome. Our stars are Jeff Morrow, Susan Cummings, and Judd Pratt, and our special guest star is John Hoyt. Sit back, relax, kick your boots up, and enjoy this, and we'll see you after the show.
Let's try a sighting on that ridge.
We've laid 500 miles of track across the plains. There's nothing ahead of us but the level plateau of the Continental Divide. And we're stuck. Stuck in the middle of 57 miles of the most impassable mountains man's ever seen. Spending our valuable time trying to find a non-existent route for the UP to go through.
And you're loving every minute of it.
You know something, Bart? You're right. Well, let's say build a train that's like a mountain goat. Can't lay track of that grade. I think our answer lies to the north. We'll have to pack it.
That's what's up to the north. We better head back to Intertrack.
You're not going to let those feathered devils frighten you off?
We've got other devils to face, Lee. The Union Pacific Board of Directors. They want a full report on the Black Hills problem by the 20th. We can just get back to Intertrack in time to prepare it.
Well, you can't send them a report of failure, Bart. Not when we might find the grade we're looking for over the next ridge.
Or the next one, or the next. Maybe never.
You don't believe that?
No. Somewhere back in those mountains is the future route of the Union Pacific Railroad. Only right now, the Board of Directors wants facts, not future possibilities. All right, let's take off. Hiya, Bart. Hiya. See?
How did you do in the heat and infested mountains, Bart?
Haven't found the route yet, Billy.
Glory be.
Well, it's not the end of the world, Billy. We'll find it. Just a question of time.
Time, the man says. There ain't any time, Lee. That's the trouble.
What's up, Billy?
He's here.
He?
The government man, the commissioner. Mr. James Ralston, his name is. He's out to get your report personally. He's in the tent now.
Thanks. I'll talk to him.
What do you think, Lee? Trouble?
Plenty of it. The government commissioner's word is law with the board of directors. When he hears Bart's report.
There's only one conclusion to be drawn from your report, McClellan. The Union Pacific Railroad is through.
I couldn't agree with you less, Mr. Ralston.
Then perhaps it's fortunate that you're merely an employee of the road, McClellan, rather than a member of its policy-making group. Every report, every survey shows that there is no possible route through the Black Hills.
But our surveys aren't complete. Give us time to finish the job, and we'll find a way through those 57 miles.
Yes, I'm afraid enough time and too many dollars have already been spent on a foolish dream. I see only two alternatives. Reroute the Union Pacific Railroad in its entirety or cancel out this project.
Bart, what a fool I've been. What a blind, stupid fool. Right there under our noses all the time, and I couldn't see it. The Union Pacific Railroad route through the Black Hills.
Mr. Ralston, this is Lee Brewer, our head surveyor. Lee, Mr. Ralston, the commissioner from Washington.
Well, Mr. Ralston, you couldn't have come at a better time. Now, all we have to do is detour around this peak. Then we hit this long ridge with a natural grade. Takes us right to the plateau of the Continental Divide. When our problems are solved, well, those trains are practically moving through the Black Hills right now.
These maps are just sketches, Mr. Brewer. Your contour lines are barely indicated. Can't expect me to accept a grading estimate based on these.
Well, no, sir, of course not. But if you could just give me 90 days, I'll have every inch of the way mapped. Every foot of grading figure.
This road's been 13 years in the making, Mr. Ralston. I don't think Congress would deem it unreasonable to give us 90 more days to save all those millions already spent.
Very well. You have 90 days to prove up the survey, map out a route, have it into Washington and Omaha for approval. It's been a great pleasure meeting you, gentlemen. Good day.
Well, Bart, how'd you like it?
That was the neatest job of sketching in a non-existing ridge I've ever seen.
You know, you're right. Ralston accepted it all the way.
I'm not so sure.
Well, if you were worried, how come you backed my play?
Because I'm just as convinced as you are that there is a route through those hills, and this gives us 90 more days to prove it.
Well, all right, what are we waiting for?
Nothing. We'll start out again tonight.
Well, tomorrow's another day, Bart. Got a hunch it's going to be a lucky one.
I'm afraid not.
What do you mean?
We're heading back to end the track. Our 90 days are up.
Well, what the blazes difference does that make? We've got to find that route or our goose is cooked.
I'm not giving up. I'm going to Omaha. I'm going to talk to that board of directors.
You think they'll listen to you when Ralston's got the government behind him? We've got to keep going till we find it.
Yeah, but by the time we get back to end of track, our cause will be lost. Now I've got to get the board's approval to search on. Get a good sleep.
Well, what took you so long, Bart? I was beginning to think you wouldn't make it.
That was a nice fool play of yours. Lucky you came off with no worse than that.
As a matter of fact, I came out with something a good deal better. Take a look at that. Mr. McClellan, you're now having the pleasure of seeing the new Union Pacific route through the Black Hills.
You know, Mr. Brewer, you could be right. Let's get this thing fixed up and we'll head back to end the track. It looks like Mr. Ralston has a good, fat surprise waiting for him.
This is our new lifeline, men. The route the Union Pacific is going to take to cross the Black Hills. Now, we haven't had time to prove up the surveys, so we won't know if we're fully right until the grading is done, but
I'll stake my life on the fact it won't run higher than 90 grade feet per mile.
All right, you heard him. Break out your teams and get moving. We'll show these bandy-ways from the east what a gang of real railroad men can do with 57 miles of mountain.
You'll be wasting your time, McClellan.
Well, I can't say we were expecting you, Mr. Ralston.
Obviously not. Gentlemen, this is Mr. Torg Baxter. He's a surveyor in the employ of my engineering and construction firm. At my own expense, I had him recheck the route Brewer said would work 90 days ago. I'm sure you know the result.
Well, wait a minute, Mr. Ralston. Maybe I did stretch the truth a bit. But there is a route through the Black Hills, and we found it.
You've had this so-called route proved up, McClellan?
No, not yet. But you have my word for it.
I'm afraid that's not enough.
Well, let the grading prove it up. I tell you, we've found the route.
There'll be no grading, Brewer. I am authorized by the United States government to halt all construction immediately. I hereby employ that authority. As for you, McClellan, at the directors' meeting in Omaha 3 weeks from now, I shall recommend that you be permanently relieved from your post with the road.
Oh, it's been a long time. I thought you'd forgotten all about me.
That'll be a little difficult to do at this stage of the game, Georgia.
That's nice to know. Sit down. Do you think you'll have a chance with the board of directors?
You heard?
Oh, word spreads fast around here. You know that.
Well, I'll give it my best try, but Ralston's got the cards stacked.
Yes. This surveyor Ralston hired. What do you know about him?
Not too much. His name is Torg Baxter.
So I've heard. I've heard a little more, too.
What is it, Georgia?
Well, he doesn't happen to be any more of a surveyor than I am.
You sure?
Oh, he's a hired gunslinger, a gambler. He's been mixed up with crooked deals all over the West. Is that any help?
Yeah. It is.
Well, what's your hurry? Train for Omaha doesn't leave for half an hour.
Thanks to your help, Georgia, I'm heading back to end of track.
Well, I make it 25.3 miles from end of track to top of grade. No, we'd be doing well to lay half a mile of track a day in terrain like that.
Ordinarily, yes. But we have exactly 3 weeks before that board of directors meets in Omaha.
Then you can stop worrying, Bob. We got plenty of teams, ties, rails, ballast, picks, and shovels. And those buckos out there will work 24 hours a day. If you give them the word.
You know, when they learn about this in Omaha, we could all end up behind bars. But until I'm officially removed, I'm still boss of the road. I'm giving the word.
Pick it up! Forward! Put it down! Forward! Down! did it, Bart. Right at the top of the Black Hills. Now let that board of directors do their worst.
And you can bet your bottom dollar they'll do just that if Ralston has his way. Oh, these been coming in for the past 10 days. All of them wanting you to stop. But I'm such a stupid ignoramus, somehow I forgot to give them to you just now.
When'd this one from Georgia come in?
The telegrapher gave it to me just before we came out. Something wrong?
Committee from the board of directors, headed by Ralston, is pulling into Granite Canyon tonight.
Well, you've been expecting it, Bart, and they can't stop you now. That track's already down.
Are you forgetting that Ralston has the power to condemn every foot of it?
Defying my orders as Commissioner of the United States government, deliberately ignoring the board of directors, Mr. McClelland has willfully thrown away hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's built 25 miles of utterly useless track in the midst of 57 miles of impassable mountain terrain.
To the contrary, gentlemen. I contend that the action which I have taken has saved the road. It's provided a safe passage through the Black Hills. Now it's only a question of time before our rails stretch out to the Pacific itself.
Claims backed only by your word, McClelland.
I'm not asking you to take my word alone. Let me prove it by taking you up on this very train to end of track.
That's ridiculous. No passenger train could possibly climb that grade safely.
We have only your word for that, Mr. Ralston. Why not let these gentlemen judge for themselves?
Gentlemen, we can end this discussion right here without endangering the lives of any of us. This is a telegram from the end of track. Half an hour ago, a work train started rolling down out of control. The brakes were unable to hold it. Running free, it left the track at a curve. 2 men were killed, a number seriously hurt, and the work train itself completely wrecked. Well, McClelland, if you needed conclusive proof, there you have it. You and the Union Pacific Railroad are through.
Bart, you really think the work train was deliberately wrecked?
I don't know. But the timing worked out just a little too well for Mr. Ralston. These are all the men who were at end of track when the work train was wrecked?
That's all of them.
Talk to every one of them. Find out where they were, what they saw, what actually happened, and work fast. That board of directors leaves for Omaha in the morning.
Right.
You checked the wreck lead?
Yeah, I looked it over.
And?
Well, there's nothing I could find.
I'll be back.
You know something, McCarthy? I wouldn't be accusing you of stealing or anything like that. But you must admit you didn't get all this gold dust, mining for it in these mountains.
I told you, Billy, I've been saving it up for my pay.
Did you now? And since when has the railroad been paying off in gold dust instead of banknotes? I'm a gentleman, McCarthy. I wouldn't harm a fly, unless it was lying to me about something. Like the wreck of a work train, for instance.
Work train? Wrecked?
That's the precise point under discussion at this little meeting. Now then, McCarthy, are you ready to talk about this gold? Who gave it to you and why?
Baxter. Tork Baxter gave it to me.
Did he now? And for doing what?
He said it was only to be a trial run, so help me, that's what he said, Billy. He told me to release the brake and let the train roll down the grade. I wouldn't deliberately wreck a train for nothing. Not for nothing, Billy. Believe me.
You know something, McCarthy? I believe you. You wouldn't wreck a train and kill some of your fellow men for nothing. No. No. You wouldn't do it for nothing. You'd do it for a bag full of gold.
Lee. Found these down in the gully.
One of the braking wheels from the wreck, huh?
Show that light over here. Deliberately sawed through.
obviously.
Engineer's probably going to a switching point up ahead.
Possibly. Somehow I have a feeling something else is...
Your feeling's entirely right, Mr. Ralston. Brewer and Kincaid have taken over the engine. We are taking a little trip west, Fedder, not Baxter. I'm taking this train up to end of track to prove that the grade is entirely safe. Then we'll let the board of directors decide just... I warned him not to make a move, and the same goes for everyone. Why don't relax and make yourselves comfortable, gentlemen? The Black Hills are beautiful, and we're taking the most scenic route.
He's making the climb as easy as a bobcat to get up a telegraph pole. Well, what'd you expect, Billy, my boy? After all, I'm the surveyor and laid out the route.
Well, gentlemen, we've reached the end of track. The top of the grade through the Black Hills. I trust you've enjoyed your ride.
You've proved nothing, McClellan. It's the downward trip that's dangerous. There isn't a brake made that can hold back the dead weight of a train like this on that grade.
Perhaps not, but we'll find out on the trip back.
Trip back? Starting to roll down the grade. Have your men apply the brakes before it's too late.
Not till we reach maximum speed.
You'll kill us all. You'll wreck this train just the way the wood train was wrecked.
Maybe. But the train will continue to run wild till you tell this board of directors the truth.
Mighty pretty scenery we're going through. I can do it a little less speed. Like McClellan sets out to prove a point. He doesn't resort to half measures. It's not half measures I'm worried about. I just hope they don't measure all of us for a hole in the ground.
Stop the train, McClellan, before you murder us all.
Could that be any worse than the two men you murdered when Baxter wrecked the work train?
We had nothing to do with that. Now stop the train. Stop it.
Why should I? You tried to wreck the road so the track would be rerouted from Omaha. That meant millions in new contracts for your construction firm.
There's not a word of truth in that. You're lying.
All right, let's just say you took away my future and I'm going to take away yours.
All right. I'll tell you the truth. I was trying to wreck the road. Now stop the train, man, before it's too late.
You didn't have to confess, Ralston. I was going to put on the brakes anyway. Now, if I can stop the train, that's proof enough that I was right. If I can't...
This series only ran in 1958 and 1959. There were 38 episodes of this series. Many of them could be lost forever. You probably recognized William Boyett and Robert Bice. Robert Bice has over 200 acting credits, many of them in Westerns. Thank you for joining us for the Forsaken Westerns. We hope you'll join us again here next time. My name is Bob Terry. Have a great day.